Hello everyone, my name is Fatima and welcome back to the Race Edit, and if you're new here, welcome to the Race Edit and welcome to a new video. Welcome to a new podcast. Welcome to a new era. Welcome to the first Race Edit video podcast ever of 2025. Dramatic? Maybe, but I'm so happy to be back and I'm so happy to be speaking to you guys again. You know what? We've been gone for a while, but we're back. Better than ever. We've had some time to relax, some time to hang out with some friends, some time to hang out with some family, some time to just breathe before the chaos of Formula One ensues again. And you know what? It is that time of year again. It is February. That means things are picking back up. We got some exciting things coming up this year, and I'm really excited to just get right into this season. Honestly, there's just been so much that has happened in the past few months in general. I can't even believe that 2024 season ended and we're already talking about the 2025 season. We're already preparing for the 2025 season. Like, there's a lot going on in the world of motorsport, in the world of Formula One, and I am so happy that the Race Edit is back, and I am so happy that you're all here on this journey with me. And if you couldn't tell by the title, today's video is all about my 2025 Formula One predictions and a little bit of, gossip, because I love a good hot topic, and we're just gonna do what we do best. Talk. Now, let's just jump right into my predictions. I think how I want to do this is I want to do my WCC first, and then I'll go into the WDC, just because there's a lot to cover. I'm not going to lie. So let's start off with how I think the teams are going to finish for the 2025, at the end of the 2025 season. I really hate to do this because I've been rooting for this team and I want them to succeed. Last year was a terrible, abysmal year for them. And I don't know if it's going to get any better this year. I'm not going to lie. So with that being said, I do have to say I'm putting Kick Sauber as 10th in the standings. I think that's a fair enough place to put Kick Sauber. I think potentially next year there might be more of a fighting chance, but honestly, if I were Kick Sauber, I would do what I need to do for 2025, but honestly cut my losses and worry more about 2026. That's what I would do with the whole Audi program and everything. That's what I would do, I would obviously, don't give up, but, these regulations aren't for you, and that's okay. Maybe the 2026 ones will be for you, and that's okay. Next now this one I kept going back and forth with. Originally, I had Williams as finishing 9th in the standings. And then I thought about it some more. And I was like, it's not the issue with the drivers for Williams, it's the issue with the car. I couldn't, in good faith, put Williams as finishing 9th in the standings when I know that they have the driver pairing of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. I could not. If Williams is lower than 8th in the standings, I'll actually be shocked. I would genuinely be shocked, and I don't know what I would do. So with that being said, I'm saying Williams, RB, Racing Bulls, is going to finish 9th in the standings, Williams 8th in the standings by the end of 2025. Racing Bulls, why I had initially put them as 8th was because, they're the sister team of Red Bull, even though they're their own independent body. They are the sister team of Red Bull, and I would assume if Red Bull has somewhat of a fighting chance, the Racing Bulls might also. Do you guys remember? Oh my gosh. Do you guys remember at the start of the 2024 season when Zach Brown was putting up a big fight about Racing Bulls being the sister team of Red Bull and having an unfair advantage, yada yada yada, and then that McLaren car got on track? I don't think I heard Zach Brown fighting as much once he saw how good his car was versus that Racing Bull car. But, sorry, I just went off on a tangent. I completely forgot about that until right now. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Oh, how fast the tables can turn. Oh, how fast things turn around in Formula One when you are no longer competing with your previous competitor and you're up with the big boys. But yeah, I do have to say Racing Bulls with Yuki Tsunoda and I think it's Isaac Hadjar, I think they're in a good... I think P9 is a good place for them to be. Williams, You see, but now that I move Williams up, I'm looking at where I have Alpine and Haas. Oh no. Don't make me change this again. Nope, I'm gonna stick with my guns. And hopefully my predictions come out right. Okay, Williams is finishing P8. That's crazy though to have. I'm thinking about the driver pairings and not the car. So you know what? That changes everything. Okay. Alright, Fatima. Just stick with your guns. You're saying Williams is finishing P8th. You have to stand on that. You can't change it. I can't change it, you guys. I already said it. Okay. That means... Now, don't jump me on this. I already know I put Williams in P8, but I'm gonna have to say, and this could be controversial, but I have Alpine as finishing 7th in the standings and Haas finishing 6th in the standings. This is all based off of, listen, did Alpine finish ahead of of Haas in the 2024 standings? Yes. Now, do I think that was, a lot of it was because of the luck that Alpine got in Brazil of 2024? Absolutely. I think Haas as a team, as a whole, was much more, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I do think Haas as a team was much more consistent than Alpine was in 2024. I do think, and this is not to like, I'm not saying that Esteban and Pierre aren't great drivers. As you guys know, I rate Esteban Ocon. He's one of my favorite drivers. I do think that Brazil was one of those races where it's like anyone could win this thing and anyone can finish on the podium, and Alpine just got it so right. Their drivers just got it so right in Brazil of 2024 that they got that double podium, which really, really brought them up to a fighting chance, if we're going to be honest. But Nico Hülkenberg was extremely consistent in 2024 as a driver for Haas. I think the Haas car is actually pretty good also in 2024. And I think if they have the right drivers on their team, Haas could really surprise us, which is why I have them as 6th in the standings. Based on the drivers and the car, I don't think... But I look at Williams. Guys, I'm going to change it. I'm changing it. I am putting Williams as finishing 7th in the standings, Alpine as 8, and RB as 9. That is my final prediction for those teams. I'm keeping it as is. I am still going to keep Haas 6th in the standings because, like I said, I do rate Esteban as a good driver. And honestly, I think Ollie Behrman has shown us what he can do. Additionally, with all the inner workings of what's going on with Alpine, I just never know what's going to happen with Alpine. And I do think that affects everything from the top down to their drivers. I genuinely do. So because of that, I'm standing with drivers, V car, all together. Haas is going to finish 6th in the standings, and that is my final decision. So it is. So it is. Now, when it comes to 5th position in the standings, I think that 5th position is a great place for Aston Martin to finish. I think that they're consistent in the way Aston Martin is consistent, if that makes sense. Like, there's just, Aston Martin's kind of just like in no man's land for me right now. We had 2023 where they did really well for the first half of the season and then went absolutely nowhere. 2024, I don't think I remember anything memorable for Aston Martin for 2024 except for the fact that I knew he was going to be joining them for 2026. However, I am placing Mercedes, Red Bull, and Aston Martin to be in a 3-way tie for the first bit of the season, and then I think Aston Martin's gonna fall off and securely stay in 5th. Mercedes and Red Bull will still have their battle, and I do think Mercedes is going to. You see, this is an interesting one actually because Red Bull now has Liam Lawson as that second driver on the team. Liam Lawson is not a rookie. He's not. He's raced enough races in Formula One to know what he's doing, while Kimi Antonelli is the prodigy. He's the next golden boy of Formula One. So it's going to be interesting seeing how those two drivers, specifically Antonelli and Liam Lawson, fare with these two strong teams such as Mercedes and Red Bull, who are kind of going through a weird transitional period. But I do think, based on the car that is produced and based on what I remember from 2024, Mercedes is going to outscore Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship, and with that, they're going to finish ahead of Red Bull, third Mercedes, and then Red Bull, fourth. Straight up. Now, when I take a look at the Ferrari and the McLaren of it all, I'm going to be so completely honest with you guys when I say, with the driver pairing that Ferrari has, if they don't finish first in the championship, I don't know what else to say. I do think Ferrari had, they've had a couple of misses in 2024, but their car overall was a strong car. And when they got it right, especially towards the end of the season, they got it right. There's no way that Ferrari should not finish first in the standings for 2024. There's just absolutely no way. While McLaren may be the reigning championships for the WCC, I think that Ferrari does have the stronger driver pairing, and I think Ferrari is right up there with McLaren with that car, especially, and if they get it right, there's no other option. So with that being said, I have Ferrari as 1 in the standings and McLaren as 2nd in the standings, and I don't think I need to elaborate any further on that. I'm not going to lie. I think that's a fair assessment, right? No? I think it is. Okay, let's just jump right into the driver's standings, how I think the drivers are going to finish in the WDC this season. I'm only doing the top 10, and I'm basing it off of how I said the teams were going to finish in the championship. So there may be a little bit of back and forth here, but I'm sticking with what I have, okay? And I'm sticking with it. So, I'm saying Esteban Ocon finishing 10th in the standings. Fernando Alonso is finishing 9th in the standings. Can't see a way where Fernando Alonso doesn't finish in the top 10 this season. If he doesn't finish in the top 10, that says a lot about what's going on at Aston Martin than it does about anything else. Because Fernando's always been, as much as he's a hater and he's my nemesis, he's been consistent. I'm saying Liam Lawson as 8th. Now this one, 7th and 6th, I literally just went back and forth on. I don't know exactly how my brain is working with this one. I'm saying Kimi Antonelli 7th, George Russell 6th. Originally, I had Kimi Antonelli 6th, George Russell 7th. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I think it's more so the fact of how much we've hyped Antonelli and how much this just feels like the most lawless season. All the teams are very close together. They finished very, very close together in the 2024 season. We have the last season of these regulations. We have 5 new rookies on the grid, and I just know deep in my heart that there's going to be at least one rookie who's going to just completely throw a spanner in the works. And if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Antonelli. I could say Behrman possibly, but that's all based on the Haas car, where Mercedes has been, even though they've had some bad cars, they've been consistent, But that's cool. Now, 4th and 5th position is where I think I'm going to get a lot of flack, but that's okay. I'm ready for it. I'm saying, and I've said this before, and we can roll the tapes, but I have said this before, I do think it's going to be, this is crazy, I'm going to have to say, Lando Norris finishes 5th in the standings for the WDC, and Oscar Piastri finishes 4th. I know. It's something. However, I think, but then I'm like trying to do my math, and I'm like, does that make sense if I have McLaren 2nd in the WCC? But I think so, because I can't see a place where Max finishes less than 3rd this season. I can't. I don't think Max is going to win the championship title. If he does, I'll be so shocked. But I am going to have to say I do think if Oscar Piastri can't beat his teammate this year, then I don't know, man. He's more than settled in at McLaren now. You know, first year, it was his first year. Second year, it's like, okay, it's still your second year, but third year, like, you have to put some pressure on Lando, especially after last season, especially after 2024. You do. And I do think if Oscar can unlock whatever it is that I think he has, the potential that I think he has, I do think he will be miles ahead of Lando this season. I'm so sorry, Lando. That's just where I am. And I already said I think Max is going to finish third in the championship. And now for the Ferrari drivers. So, oh boy. There's been a lot of talk about what's going to happen with Ferrari. They have two extremely great drivers. They have Charles Leclerc and they have the likes of Lewis Hamilton joining the team. Now, the conversation is Lewis Hamilton has to get comfortable with Ferrari. Charles has the edge over him right now. Lewis isn't in his prime. However, Ferrari has a 7-time world champion on their hand. They're putting a lot of their faith in Lewis Hamilton, bringing in that win for them, that WDC for them, that WCC for them. They're putting a lot of faith in Hamilton because imagine the storyline of Lewis Hamilton winning his 8th world title with Ferrari. The two greatest things of Formula One coming together and winning that is absolutely insane. Now, there's no secret that I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. That's never been a secret. The entirety of this channel started off because I was a Lewis Hamilton fan and I had things to say. However, I do think the first few races are going to be difficult for Lewis Hamilton. I don't think difficult's not the right word because he's been in this game far longer than a lot of these drivers on the grid and he knows he can adapt. I think he's an adaptable driver. We saw his rookie season in 2007. We saw how quick he got into that McLaren car, yada, 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 yada. He had a lot of testing, la, da, da, da. However, I think if Lewis Hamilton can get into the groove of things really fast, and if that car is as great as I think it's going to be, while Charles is a really good driver, and this is no shade to Charles, I can't see Lewis Hamilton not winning the 2025 WDC. I think it's going to be a really, 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 really tough fight between the two drivers. However, I do think that is the case. I think Charles is not going to go down without a fight, but both of them have something to prove. One really has something to prove, and I do think if it comes down to it, based on experience, it would be Lewis Hamilton. He has nothing to prove to anyone but himself, yes, but I'm just imagining the entirety of the entire story. It's literally just, oh gosh, this is so corny and I don't want to say it, but it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, he's the greatest Formula One driver of all time, we know this, but the way that his last few years ended at Mercedes, especially 2024 with the qualifying of it all, I see that as motivation. I do. I see it as motivation, and I do think he's not going to go down without a fight. That is for dang sure. And Ferrari, you've got something really wonderful on your hands, and if you mess this up, Ferrari, which there's a lot of talk about people saying Ferrari, you can't mess this up, Ferrari, like this is the Ferrari way, but I have a lot of faith in this Ferrari personnel than previous Ferrari personnel. I have a lot of faith that they are doing something right, and if I'm wrong, my gosh, I'm so sad. And I really, really hope I'm not wrong, but I'm saying Lewis Hamilton's going to win his title this year. If not this year, then 2026, but these are my 2025 predictions. You already know who's going to be number one for my 2026 predictions, so there you go. But these are my 2025 predictions, and I'm standing by that, and I'm locking it in. What are your predictions? How do you think? How do you think this is going to end out? I could be completely wrong, or I could be completely right. Hopefully, I have at least 5 right for the WCC, and hopefully I have at least 5 right for the WDC. Hopefully. Now, I know I said I was going to do a little gossip session this episode. We're going to do that next episode, only because there's some... long story short, it was really just going to be about the steward penalty guidelines. I have the paper right here. However, I do think I want to break that down in a more cohesive video, in a different video where I can actually get into it. So we're going to save this for next week. If you listen to audio, I literally just showed the paper. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for sitting here and watching this video. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe. I am on YouTube. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. So if you want to find me, I am everywhere. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.